The newsroom crackled with energy. Red banners flashed across TV screens. China launches world's largest oil tankers. US left speechless. The ticker read. The world was watching. On the other side of the globe, cameras zoomed in on a shipyard in Dalian. The air was thick with excitement. Outside, workers in orange jumpsuits cheered. A massive hull, gleaming and painted deep red, slid into the water. The ship dwarfed everything around it. Reporters jostled for position, microphones outstretched. The launch was live on every major network. Social media exploded. Hashtags like hashtag China Supertanker and hashtag Game Changer trended in minutes. In Washington, officials watched in stunned silence. The age of China's mega-oil tankers had begun. The world had seen big ships before, but nothing like this. It was a bold statement, and everyone knew it. China's shipbuilders had done the impossible. In just 4 years, they had created the world's largest oil tankers. These ships were not only bigger but smarter. They used advanced navigation and safety systems, setting new standards for the industry. The tankers, called Dragon Giants by their makers, could carry more oil than any vessel before. Each one was a floating fortress, built to withstand storms and even ice. Experts called them the future of energy transport. Why build such giants? China imports more oil than any other country. With these ships, it could control its own energy routes. It would depend less on foreign tankers, and that meant more security and more power. For China, this was more than shipbuilding. It was about showing the world its strength. The launch was not just an industrial feat. It was a message. The numbers were staggering. China's new generation of oil tankers, known as the Dragon Giants, have redefined what's possible in maritime engineering and global energy transport. Each Dragon Giant stretched over 400 meters, longer than 4 football fields placed end to end. Their immense size is almost impossible to grasp until you see one dwarfing the coastline or other ships nearby. The deck was so wide you could park 100 cars side by side with room to spare. Crew members often used bicycles just to get from one end to the other. Fully loaded, a single tanker could haul an astonishing 4 million barrels of oil. That's a volume so vast it's hard to imagine, enough to fill over 250 Olympic-sized swimming pools. That's enough oil to fuel all of New York City for an entire week, powering millions of homes, businesses, and vehicles without pause. These ships were powered by next-generation engines, designed for both strength and efficiency. The engine rooms themselves are marvels of technology, monitored around the clock by skilled engineers. With 80,000 horsepower under the hood, these giants could cross entire oceans in record time, slicing through waves with surprising speed for their size. Their double-hull design made them exceptionally safe, even in the roughest seas. This innovation greatly reduces the risk of spills, protecting both crew and environment. State-of-the-art radar and satellite links kept them connected anywhere in the world, allowing real-time communication and navigation, no matter how remote the ocean. Compare this to the world's previous largest tankers, and the leap in technology and scale becomes clear. The Dragon Giants are a new breed entirely. The Dragon Giants were not only 10% larger, but also 20% more fuel efficient than their predecessors, setting new industry standards. They produced fewer emissions, making them greener than rivals. Advanced filtration and fuel systems mean their environmental footprint is dramatically reduced. It's not just about size, one engineer said. It's about smart shipping, using technology to move more, faster, and cleaner than ever before. The sheer scale was hard to believe. Standing on deck, the horizon seemed to stretch endlessly in both directions. From the stern, you could barely see the bow through the haze, the ship's length almost vanishing into the distance. These ships were like floating cities, moving quietly across the world, self-contained, powerful, and vital to the flow of global energy. In Washington, the news hit hard. The sudden emergence of these massive Chinese oil tankers sent shockwaves through the highest levels of government. Officials gathered in urgent meetings, trying to grasp the full implications of this development for America's energy security and global influence. Analysts scrambled to understand what this meant. They pored over shipping data, satellite images, and intelligence reports, searching for clues about China's intentions and the potential impact on global oil markets. "We've never seen anything like it," one official admitted, echoing the sense of disbelief that rippled through the room. The scale and ambition of China's move caught many by surprise. The US had long relied on its own fleet, But nothing matched these new Chinese tankers. Their sheer size and advanced technology set a new standard, raising questions about whether America could keep up. Across the Atlantic, Europe watched with a mix of admiration and concern. European leaders recognized the engineering feat, but also worried about what it meant for their own energy independence and the stability of global trade. Oil companies around the world immediately asked if they could charter the new ships. The prospect of faster, cheaper, and larger oil shipments was tempting, but it also raised questions about who would control these vital routes. Environmental groups wanted to know if they were really greener. They demanded transparency about emissions, fuel efficiency, and the environmental impact of these giant vessels, hoping that innovation would not come at the planet's expense. In the Middle East, oil producers saw new opportunities and new risks. Some hoped to benefit from increased exports, while others worried about losing leverage. The Pentagon took notice, analyzing how these ships could alter the balance of power at sea. The tankers could change shipping routes and naval strategy. Military planners debated how to respond, knowing that control of the seas has always been a cornerstone of global power. "This is a game changer," a senior officer said. The ability to move vast quantities of oil quickly and quietly could shift alliances and reshape the world's energy map. China now had the power to move huge amounts of oil, far from prying eyes. These tankers could operate in remote waters, making it harder for rivals to track or influence their movements. Ordinary people were curious too. News reports sparked conversations in homes, cafes, and workplaces, as people wondered how this would affect gas prices, jobs, and the environment. On talk shows, experts debated, was this good for the world, or just for China? Some argued it could lower costs and boost trade, while others feared it would give China too much control over a critical resource. No one had all the answers. The world was left with more questions than solutions, as leaders and citizens alike tried to make sense of this new reality. But everyone agreed. The balance of power was shifting. The arrival of these tankers marked the beginning of a new era in global shipping, one that would reshape economies, alliances, and the very nature of international competition. Oil is the world's lifeblood. Every day, millions of barrels move by sea. With these new tankers, China could move more oil, faster and cheaper. Shipping costs would drop for Chinese companies. That meant lower prices at home, and more influence abroad. Other countries faced tough choices. Should they build their own megatankers? Should they trust China's ships with their oil? The global oil business was suddenly more competitive. Old alliances were tested, and new deals were made. Shipping experts warned of a domino effect. If China controlled more of the world's oil transport, it could set the rules. Insurance rates, safety standards, even port fees. Everything could change. For oil producers, the tankers opened new markets. For oil buyers, they promised stability. But for rivals, they were a wake-up call. The world of oil shipping would never be the same. Building the Dragon Giants was no easy feat. The process started in the drawing rooms of Shanghai, where engineers used three-dimensional models and virtual reality. Every bolt and beam was planned with precision. The shipyards in Dalian and Guangzhou became hives of activity. Thousands of workers toiled day and night. Steel plates the size of train cars were welded together. Giant cranes lifted engines and propellers into place. Suppliers from across China delivered the latest tech, navigation systems, safety gear, and eco-friendly paints. The tankers took shape over months, then years. Each launch was a national event. Families gathered to watch as the giants touched water for the first time. The air buzzed with pride and hope. It was more than construction. It was teamwork on a grand scale. From the drawing board to the sea, China's best minds and hands worked together. The result was history in the making. The first Dragon Giant set sail under a clear sky, its massive hull gleaming in the early morning light. The air buzzed with anticipation as the ship slowly pulled away from the harbor, embarking on a journey that would capture the world's attention. Its crew, a mix of seasoned veterans and eager young sailors, bustled about the deck, their faces a blend of nerves and excitement. For many, this was their first time aboard such a colossal vessel, while others brought years of experience navigating the world's oceans. The journey would take them thousands of miles from China's bustling ports to the distant Persian Gulf, carrying a precious cargo of crude oil. Life aboard the Dragon Giant was unlike anything on land, a floating city with its own rhythms and routines. The ship was so vast that crew members used bicycles to travel from one end of the deck to the other, pedaling past towering pipes and machinery as the sea breeze whipped around them. Every day, meals were shared in a bright, bustling mess hall. where laughter and stories echoed off the steel walls. These moments of camaraderie helped the crew feel at home, even as they sailed far from their families. To pass the long days at sea, the ship offered gyms for exercise, a quiet library for reading, and even a small cinema where the crew could unwind with movies after a hard day's work. Each morning the captain stood on the bridge, reviewing charts and weather maps, carefully plotting a safe course through unpredictable seas. The safety of the crew and cargo depended on his steady hand and sharp eye. Out on the open ocean, the tanker moved steadily through rolling waves, its engines humming a constant rhythm. The vastness of the sea was both humbling and awe-inspiring, reminding everyone aboard of the power of nature. Along the way, the Dragon Giant passed tiny fishing boats and even large container ships, yet it dwarfed them all, a true behemoth of the seas. In major ports like Singapore and Rotterdam, preparations for the ship's arrival resembled those for a royal visit. Workers readied the docks, and anticipation grew as the giant vessel approached. Dock workers, journalists, and curious onlookers lined up along the piers, eager to witness the arrival of the Dragon Giant up close. Cameras flashed and reporters broadcast live updates, capturing the excitement of the moment. Meanwhile, millions of people around the world followed the ship's progress online, tracking its journey through social media updates and live maps. The Dragon Giant became a symbol of technological achievement and national pride. Each port stop made headlines in newspapers and on television, with stories highlighting the ship's size, its crew's dedication, and the significance of its mission. As the Dragon Giant sailed from continent to continent, the world watched in fascination, witnessing China's mega-tanker make its mark on the global stage, one historic voyage at a time. Back in the newsroom, the story grew bigger every day. Editors rushed to cover new angles: economic, political, environmental. Reporters interviewed experts, dock workers, and shipping magnates. The phones rang off the hook. News anchors debated what the tankers meant for world trade. "Are we seeing a new superpower at sea?" one asked. Maps and graphics flashed on screens, showing changing routes and oil prices. Viewers sent in questions and opinions. Social media kept buzzing. Videos of the tankers at sea went viral. People posted memes, cartoons, and even songs about China's new ships. Rival networks tried to catch up, but the story belonged to those who broke it first. For journalists, it was the scoop of the year. For viewers, it was a glimpse of the future. The news cycle was relentless, but the excitement never faded. China's mega oil tankers are more than just ships. They are symbols of a changing world. They show how technology, ambition, and teamwork can shift the balance of power. They promise cheaper oil and safer seas, but also bring new risks. The US and others must adapt. Old rules may not work anymore. New alliances will form, and old ones may break. The oil business and the world's energy security will never be the same. For now, the world watches and waits. Will these ships bring peace and prosperity? Or will they spark new rivalries? One thing is certain, the launch of China's mega-tankers is a moment history will remember. In the end, it's not just about ships, it's about the future. Who shapes it, who sails it, and who owns the seas.